Welcome, everyone. My name is Rachna Mudugani. I'm the CEO at the Graduate Student Association at the University of Melbourne. I'd like to welcome you all to the Grad Chat program, the Q&A session on academic support. So before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we virtually meet. I'm actually on the land of the Kulin Nations. I'd like to pay my respect to the past, present, and emerging leaders. And I'd also like to pay my respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders land on which we all are virtually meeting across Melbourne. So we are very delighted today to have Alistair Ingham and Guido Ernst meeting from the Stock 1 and Student Services Coordination and the Academic Success Programs. And we also have with us Jeremy Waite, our GSA Activities Officer. Jeremy is a council member. So I think for us in this current environment, supporting students with our partner agencies is one of our key objectives. It is, we probably have to acknowledge it's a challenging time for our graduates and the students of the University of Melbourne to be suddenly be in a world where, you are experiencing self-isolation, you have multiple challenges, and to be working online and ensuring that you are getting the adequate support can be quite challenging for some of our students, and particularly students who may be still overseas and have had challenges to come back to Australia. So the series of workshops that we've had in the GradChat program is to keep the communication going, is to support you by having an opportunity to speak to different staff of the university. And thank you, Alistair and Guido, for joining us today. And before I commence, I'd like to talk to Jeremy. Jeremy, you're on the council, and one of your key objectives of our strategic plan, and you kind of, on being a council member, your role is to ensure that the staff and the council members implement our strategic plan. And our key objective is to ensure that GSA facilitates and supports students to achieve academic excellence, and also ensures that our graduates are supported in transition to work. So from your perspective as a council member, why do you think these activities are important, and what are your views?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Rachna. So as you mentioned, we have 5 areas of our strategic plan. However, as students ourselves, there are 2 areas that are quite vital to us, these being transition to work and academic excellence. So as we are all graduate students on GSA Council, we know that finding and securing employment is one of the main reasons many students are studying. So GSA is working hard to design and collaborate with partners like the university to support our students to transition from study to employment. And on the point of academic excellence for us is not necessarily about ensuring that graduate students are all high achieving H1 students. It's more about, for us, creating the support to allow them to achieve. And what that could look like is going to be different for all the diverse range of graduate students that we have here on and off campus. So we have a range of services and programs that GSA do offer, but it is equally important for us to be working with the university to ensure that our graduates are receiving the help they need in their studies.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think, very well said that our role is not to do the work that, our partner agencies are currently providing. Our role is to collaborate so that we make effective referrals. Our role is to, highlight the value of reaching out to good programs that are there in the university. But it's also our responsibility to ensure that where there are gaps, that we work with our partner agencies to ensure that we are designing and supporting programs that can reach out to people who have difficulties So I actually would like to invite Tavita Lisuma, who is our General Manager for Student Engagement and Strategic Partnership. And Tavita has been primarily responsible for a range of student engagement activities to support the delivery of the SAF-funded activities and to assist our students to have opportunities to get information and participate in activities to support their emotional health and well-being. But a part of his role is also to ensure that we deliver courses and short programs, as well as partner with relevant agencies in ensuring that there are innovative programs to support students with transition to work. So over to you, Tavita, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Alistair and Guido.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro, Rashna. And yeah, absolutely welcome, Alistair, Guido, and Jeremy. I think a couple of points there about, yes, absolutely. Jeremy nailed it on the head about our transition to work and academic excellence. But I think what's super important, and Rash has spoke about it briefly, was our partnering. And we're lucky to have both Alistair and Guido here because we've actually worked with both their areas over the last few years to ensure that we're providing the services or referral services to our grad students because they do excellent work. So for GSA, just touching on the transition to work, I mean, these times are different now. We are putting together the version 3 of LEAD, our leadership program for GSA, and then working with Guido's area to look at other areas of support for transitioning to work or through academic skills. It is a tough time for students now, and I think as Jeremy mentioned, I mean, one of the reasons you go to university is to secure that employment. And for us, it's the little things. So now people have lost their casual work. There's no placements currently going. So it's even more important for us to be facilitating or supporting the students in the transition to work area. Actually, I actually wanted to ask Alistair, if possible, to sort of chime in there and talk to us about the support mechanisms you guys are currently doing as Stop One for graduates. Could you shed some light on what's currently happening out of Stop One?
Well, it's pretty much business as usual, Tavita. So for those that aren't aware of the things that we do, I suppose just a bit of a heads up of what Stop One consists of. So Stop One can be a little confusing in that it's both a place and a collection of services. So I think the message that people have, that hopefully students have, is if I need help with something, anything really, come to Stop One and we can help find a way. And often that's a referral back to GSA, for instance. But many students are becoming more savvy in it, and as you've been with the university for longer, you'll learn some of the component parts within Stop One. So within Stop One, there are the sort of the admin areas. So there's support around enrolling in subjects, withdrawing from subjects, course planning, what subjects you're going to do next. It's thinking about enrichment experiences, studying overseas, which is a little tricky at the moment, but looking at options perhaps to study next year where you might be able to take an overseas opportunity. It's academic skills that Guido can talk to you about. There's a careers service, there's counselling, safer communities, childcare, the health service, chaplaincy, and the list goes on. So all of those things you can find at Stop One, and you can equally find them online. And they've always been online. They're now just even more online. Well, actually, I suppose they're just not in person anymore. So all those services still exist. We are continuing to take calls, both directly to the 13 Melb general helpline and helping people with their inquiries that way. And each of the teams are taking calls and Zoom appointments and phone appointments and having chat sessions and emails to continue to support students. And if people don't know, if students don't know where those services exist, they can still call that 13 Melb number and we will refer them through and get them to the specialist advice that they need. So if there's any detailed questions, we can talk more about some of those detailed services, but we're continuing to support students through these remote times in pretty much the same services that we always have.
Yeah, fantastic, Alice. I mean, I guess the name says it all. The Stop One name is the one-stop shop for all the services, and I think it's been for us, we've actually got our own number now, and I'll plug it. There's 1-800 GSA Help, and so we have students calling into that number, and most of the time it's refer them to Stop One or particular services within the enrichment team. So it's good to know that business as usual for Stop One, as it's the focal point for any query. And I spoke to you earlier about the amazing transition from having people in the building to people all around Melbourne, but still the business is still carrying on. So it's fantastic to see. And I guess so with the current situation. So is it the same sort of? Have you had to put on more staff, or is the queries getting mainly for COVID related, or is it a mixture, or is it just any insights?
Well, the total number of I was just doing a report for my boss this morning. Actually, the total number of interactions are actually going up, but they're shorter because we're not doing as many in-person. Well, we're not doing any in-person appointments, and we're doing I guess fewer kind of Zoom interactions than we would have normally done face-to-face interactions. So the chats and the emails and the phone calls are typically quicker than a face-to-face service. So we're doing more. Yes, there are a lot of COVID-related things about, I can't do this subject anymore. So what does that mean for my study plan? We are really conscious that there's disruption there, and that students don't wish to extend the overall duration of their course. Like, how can we shuffle some subjects around, or perhaps do a winter intensive or something like that to enable you to stay on track and graduate, in a timely fashion. So we're doing a lot of work around that. And then we're getting a lot of questions around assessments, and what I don't yet have all the answers to those. I know that the university community is working very hard to determine new assessment methods to make sure that they are fair for students, but also maintain academic integrity. And then we're also getting a lot of queries around the hardship provisions and support funds, about who's eligible and how can they get some support, given many people have lost their jobs, or their families might be in some financial difficulty, or they're having to incur additional costs because they can't come on campus to access the internet and so on.
Yeah, okay. Amazing. Like, I think for us too, a lot of our queries that are coming through our number are similar, and we have the 13 Melbourne number to send to you, but a lot of it is referral onto your website, because there's a lot of information on the University of Melbourne's website that shows exactly the process to go through to get that support. But yeah, I think it's amazing to have you guys still powering through the situation as normal and supporting those students. I think I'd like to sort of just flip over to Guido if I can now. Guido, welcome. I just wanted to touch base as the manager of academic success. How has this situation affected your area? It's an academic skills area, and what's changed and what's available for students in terms of getting that academic support?
Yeah, thanks. It's a bit like what Alistair said, I guess. It's in a way it's business as usual. There was a transition phase where we needed to sort out things. So, for example, for one-on-one appointments that usually happen across campus, mostly in libraries, we needed to move them all online and onto Zoom. And that was a bit of a challenge, just setting things up, changing the booking system and things like that. But it's all running smoothly, and probably similar to Alice's area as well. I haven't checked the exact numbers, but it's very busy. So the uptake is definitely there. And we have a lot of students utilizing the service. And so if any students are interested in booking an appointment with us, I can just suggest that they book early, because if you want something within the next few days, you probably won't be able to book in because everything's booked out. but it's going well, and we have probably seen a slight shift in the demographic.
Okay.
So, and that might be virus related as well, but we usually see a lot of international graduate coursework students, and that seemed to be a bit less. And we seem to see more domestic students, but that's a bit more anecdotal. So I haven't really looked into the data because it's actually quite difficult for us to determine who's international and who's local. But yeah, like I said, the one-on-one services are running virtual now, and it's very busy. And the workshops that we usually do throughout the semester, and we've got a number of different series there. So we have a series for graduate researchers. We have some more open call workshops for all students. And most of them have been moved online too. A few we had to cancel, unfortunately, because it was just not possible in the short time frames that we had to move everything online.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all the support is still there. It's available. We've got actually quite a big online presence, especially in Canvas and the new LMS. So there is really a lot of support available for students, and working from home, you can make the most of it, I guess, because you don't need to go anywhere. You can just jump in and see what's available.
Brilliant. So, Guido, what's the best process? So if I was, say, a graduate researcher looking for some academic support, so writing skills or helping with my, I don't know if you'd even do it at EndNote, but is there any of that type of support available? And if so, how would I go about getting involved?
Yeah, so we do work a lot with graduate researchers, but we do work with all students. And yeah, sometimes the way that we've divided up the work might not be that clear to students. So for example, we don't deal with EndNote, that's the library, but you know, if you come to us, we will tell you where to find support for EndNote. So the best thing to find out what's available is just to Google academic skills, and we usually come up as the first hit. And to be on the safe side, you could just Google academic skills UniMel, and then you find our website. And we just launched a new website a couple of months ago, so it should be quite easy to navigate, and students should be able to find all the support options that are available. So there's information about our one-on-one sessions. There is a huge data bank of our resources, and you can search them and filter them. And there's information about workshops and other things that we run.
Great. So essentially, go to the website and sign up into the one-to-one sessions. You think is the best way forward first, just to work out what you need, or you can simply browse the.
I would suggest browse the resources and see what's there, and then if you've got further questions, book an appointment. So most students book an appointment to bring in a draft of their work. So we would then review the writing and give feedback on how it might be improved. But students can talk about anything. And we do see students coming with questions about, say, the note-taking or the reading. Time management is always a big issue.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we do see students as well coming to us about struggling with this transition to learning online. A lot of students find the lack of structure is a problem for them, because they're used to, say, you know, go to a lecture theatre at 10 a.m. and now the lecture is recorded online. They can listen to it whenever they want. And some students find it difficult to deal with that lack of structure. But yeah, students can talk to us about whatever they're concerned about in regards to their academic success.
Fantastic.
So that's a great conversation, Guido and Alistair. I had a few questions that have come through our way at, you know, we've been having a lot of interaction with our students online, and as well as, you know, providing feedback on all the policies that have been currently things. So I may start off with Alistair, if that's okay, a few questions that it's more, I think, clarity for our students. So in relation to the, accessing Stop 1 and being able to access the emergency support fund, Alistair, that sometimes there's a bit of a confusion where, while people are applying, they're not very sure whether they're eligible or, can they, like if I've got a scholarship, can I use the emergency support fund for computers or internet? Like, is it the best way to, what's the best way for them to seek information? Is it sending an email query or call? What do you suggest for students so that they don't get very stressed?
Sure. Well, there's a fair amount of clarity on the website about eligibility, but we can never put all the detail on there. But if students do have questions, yes, either the three channels. Perhaps the quickest one at the moment is to call 13Mel. Yeah. But if you don't wish to do that, you can start a chat or send an email. You go through the particulars of your situation. What I can broadly tell you though is that whilst there is we are making sure that students aren't double dipping in some cases. So for instance, where we've given students a accommodation concession, so they might be in a residence or something, and we've waived their accommodation fees because of hardship. And then those students will wish to apply for the hardship provision for some other reason. You can't double dip in that respect and get more than $7,500 by adding those two things together. That would only apply to a very small number of students. So we would encourage students to apply for things, and I think we're taking broadly speaking a generous assessment of need, because we do appreciate that there has been disruptions and students do need support.
Yeah, I think that's really important what Alistair has kind of the messaging that we do want to give to our community, that it is a very difficult time for all, everybody around, and that, our aim is to ensure that people can access the services based on needs, and there's no accusation that there is people who are double dipping, but just being mindful that people are using the limited resources effectively so that there's equal distribution and people who have the needs are prioritized. So I think we share the very similar values, Alistair. And I had another question particularly for international students, is that I don't know whether it's Guido or we do understand that sometimes, because of the time differences and other things, that, getting a phone call may be a bit difficult, but I think it's important for them to understand that there are different mechanisms to contact you for academic support, and that our concerns are basically for students who have just started the course, right after orientation day, and very soon they find themselves from face-to-face onto online and have not had familiarity of the different services that are provided. What kind of, how do you encourage these people to get more familiar with what academic support can offer? Is it more jumping onto the website, or can they just call and talk to someone so that they know what services you offer, Guido?
Yeah, the best way is probably to send us an email.
Yeah.
So we do offer asynchronous feedback as well for students who are in different time zones, etc. So our email address is just academic-skills@unimel. And yeah, we usually endeavor to get back to people within 24 hours. So if there's any questions students have and they want to ask what support is available for them, or sometimes we get very specific questions as well. about, say, I don't know, a question around referencing or something like that, just shoot through an email and we'll get back to students. I should mention that we also have a drop-in service that is usually running out of the libraries as well during semester. And we have moved that online as well, and that works as an asynchronous service as well. So students can email their questions and their drafts to an email address, and we have a group of peers that will review the emails and will get back to students. So that's another way how students can get support outside of business hours.
Yeah, if I could just chime in too there, if it's okay. The students interact with us in a broad range of ways, and as I'm sure listeners would be aware, students have different ways of approaching things. Some students are extremely proactive and will search and find services like Guido's and approach them directly, and that's great. But others may not be so inclined and may not know that those services are available, but they just need help. And in all those cases, we would just say, whenever you just need help and you're struggling with something, just call 13 Mel and tell us what your problem is, and we'll find a way. And it might be putting you through to Guido's area, or it could be something completely different. So we do encourage students to find their way directly to the experts, but there is always that fallback position of, if you're struggling, give us a call. And I'd like to also point out that, and you make a good point there, Rachna, about commencing students who, may have spent a week or two on campus, and they might be in a new city, in a new environment, in a new institution, and all of a sudden the world gets turned upside down, and they might be feeling a bit isolated, and that's quite understandable at this time. So colleagues in another part of Guido's team are methodically calling through to commencing students to provide some check-in and outreach calls, just to make sure that students are okay, particularly those newer ones, and to remind them of the services that are available. So if you might be struggling with A or B, we can pass you through to those experts in those areas to, in case, again, as new students, you don't know that those services exist, we can make those referral points a bit more proactively. And we look to be ramping up those interactions over the next few weeks.
Thank you, Alistair. I think, it's a very good message that reaching out, and I think Guido was rightly pointed out, some of you may look at this as an opportunity to, I have the time, now I'm going to focus, but some of us may find the isolation quite daunting, and, not interacting and being able to ask questions to your lecturers or be able to interact with your peers would be difficult. But I think if you reach out to services at Stop One, they'll be able to help you navigate the issue, discuss the issue and navigate and help you put you onto the right service. And I think, with the academic support is in the current environment, to have that additional support for someone to, read your piece of work and guide you through that. It's an excellent support, but there are limitations. And I think it's important to acknowledge is to be a bit proactive is what we would communicate to our students too. We do have a few attendees, and if they had any questions for Alistair and Guido, it would be good if you'd like to send it on chat, or Natasha is Senior Policy Coordinator is also online. And if there were any questions that you would like to ask, please put it on a chat, or we can allow you to talk to ask those questions. One particular issue that I did want to talk to both of you was, and your thoughts on this was, we are going to come into a period of exam preparation and exam studying, and we're not very sure what that environment would be. And have you had some further thinking either at Stop One about, I know that GSA kind of offered a lot of the SWOT-back activities, and we are in the process of thinking, but some of the feedback that we've had with students is you know, how we could facilitate study groups, or, you know, whether there are any workshops that, you know, services can provide on preparing for exams. So I may put the question to Guido first and then to hear back from Alistair.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. We are looking at what's happening in the space very closely. We have been in conversation with learning environments. They actually on their website have a list of alternative exam arrangements. So this is, I think it's only for staff-facing page, but that lists sort of different options that subject coordinators can use to replace the physical exams they used to do in the past. And we have been working on resources that sort of match that. So if students go to our website and look at the resources section, there is at the top a section we have created about studying online. And we will continuously add materials to that, especially around exams and sort of the new exams format students might experience. But there's also things there that apply regardless of the format. So about revision programs and how you can prepare for any exam, no matter what the format might be. And we also have a couple of workshops on exam preparation coming up. So again, students look at the website, they can find all this information there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Guido. And Alistair, any comments from you?
Not to add too much more. I mean, one of the things I'm going to miss, I think, this year, this semester is leaving through stop one at the end of the day, and even though our activities or our services stopped, is actually seeing all the students gathered around tables in their revision and study groups. And so I appreciate that that's going to be much harder to facilitate this time around. I don't have a solution to that at this stage, but I would say that I'm aware that colleagues in Chancery are sending out some student surveys for each subject over the course of the next week, I believe, with opportunities for students to highlight gaps in the service or gaps in the teaching and learning experience. And I'd encourage all students to give full and frank feedback to that survey about things that are working well in some subjects and ones that aren't working quite so well in others, and also to flag your needs that might help in a revising sense or from a swap back point of view, and we may be able to respond to some of those things and facilitate some group sessions or study partners or things of that ilk to help students to have an experience a bit more like the one that they do experience on campus. So we're very open to feedback and more than willing to step in to provide further support or infrastructure to support that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alistair and Guido, for your time. And we at GSA would really like to acknowledge the work that your services have been providing to the students. We've been generously making referrals to your service, and we're very pleased that our working relationship, you know, has been strengthened through this process, but it has always been a very good relationships that we'd like to continue to maintain through this difficult and challenging time. A big thank you to your staff at your center. I do have one question that has come my way, is so I think, Alistair, did you have anything to say as a final note before we end, before you leave?
Nothing in particular, other than just to reiterate. Actually, I've got one very minor thing. As part of the hardship piece or the disruption piece, the university does have some technology that's available to support students. So I know, for instance, if there are additional devices that are needed, or internet connectivity, and I just wanted to let students know that probably tomorrow or Monday we'll be adding to our website access to some internet dongles to provide internet from home, just in case students Wi-Fi isn't up to scratch and they aren't able to use the libraries and so on. So we'll be making that available from next week, and we've partnered with our Optus to send those dongles out to student home addresses over the next week or so.
Oh, fantastic.
But the general message is like I was saying at the top, we are open for business. I did just check my report before. We had over 3,500 student interactions in a short week last week. So we are still speaking to many thousands of students. So if you do need help, find the service you need. But if you don't know what that is, just contact 13Melb and we will direct you where you need to be. Most of our staff are either current students or former students that have been where you've been before, and we're here to help.
Thank you so much. And Guido, any final comment to our students?
Maybe just going back, I think what Jeremy said at the start, we talk a lot about academic excellence as well. And as Jeremy said, that doesn't mean, you know, everyone is getting an H1. It's being the best student you can be. It's being successful in your studies. It's making it easier for you. You know, we sometimes speak about studying smarter rather than studying harder. And the important thing is really to reach out, to be proactive. As Alistair said, there's a lot of services available, but students just need to go and raise their hand basically and say, I want to access one of the services, and then they'll find the way. But they need this little bit of being proactive to get them into the system.
Thank you so much for your time, and our panelists, Alistair and Guido, will be leaving us. So thank you so much, and we will continue the conversation with Tavita about the activities that GSA would like to facilitate and support our students with. Thank you.
Great, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Taking on from there, Tavita, I mean, it's fantastic that we have had Alistair and Guido provide an overview of the different services that are available. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, particularly, let's start with transition to work. And I think you hit a couple of points right at the beginning, is that, you know, we find ourselves in a very difficult environment where over the last 4 to 5 weeks, the entire fabric of the economy has changed. We find ourselves in self-isolation. There are challenges related to employment, particularly for students, and you know, many of them who are seeking casual employment. Those opportunities are limited. There are issues for also our graduates who are in the process of applying for graduate positions. There are students who are in the process of either preparing for a placement. They find themselves in, you know, with a lot of uncertainty. So during that period of time, I know that we are championing the LEAD program, which looks at developing professional development on leadership. What are some of the other short courses of activities or professional development opportunities that GSA is exploring to support the students to use this time to develop the skill set?
Yes, thanks, Rashna. Like, yeah, you mentioned that, you know, it is a strange time, and it's also an opportunity for GSA to step up our support in different and innovative ways. So I talked on it previously about partnering. So we are looking to partner with our friends at the university and their careers and employment area, as well as other seasoned facilitators from the community to provide skills to give confidence to the students from transitioning from their study life to their work life. Now, that could mean a range of things, but I think, you know, on the top surface, we'd be looking at, you know, interview skills, job hunting as a process, working in how to sell themselves on an email or a paper or on their CV, looking for different ways to build their capacity and ways that build their confidence. So little things on you know, when you're looking for that job, I mean, instead of just applying for, you know, 50 jobs a day and just hoping by lottery that you get a call back, it's about finding the right job, understanding what the PDs, the position description says, and matching it to the skills that you currently have or building on the experience that you have. So little bits and pieces like that, which a lot of people miss. Even people that have left university for many years still miss that little key parts about finding the right job so that you have more chance of being asked for more information through an interview or through a virtual, a Skype or Zoom chat. So bits and pieces like that to support students finding work, giving their confidence. And our friends at Careers and Employability University are doing similar things. And what we try and do is to rework it so that it focuses on graduates. I mean, because there are very different cohorts. And so for us, we'd be looking to tailor the services that the university or some of our partners offer to target specific needs of our graduates.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. So really what you're saying is, you know, really exploring this time that people are in this period where we are going through a bit of uncertainty, to reassure people that, you know, the focus would be, let's utilize this time to learn how to look for the right job, you know, look at your own skills and attributes and knowledge, match those skills to the jobs that you're applying for or your area of profession, to sharpen up your CV, how to use LinkedIn, how to interview really well, and to learn from interviews where you've not been successful. I think these are such good strategies. And, you know, I have really appreciated that the courses are short, or it's about speaking to an expert so that the expectation of time may not be a lot from the graduates, but it's about also understanding, you know, where those opportunities lie and how they can harness those opportunities. I think another group that has been, you know, who have been also been worried about their job prospects are the graduates who are going to be graduating at the end of the year or the middle of the year. So similar sessions would be very helpful for people who are applying graduate programs, and we're trying to explore how we can find some guest speakers from different industry who can come and talk to you about the graduate program and how to kind of refine your skills in that area. So Tavita, would you like to add a little bit about GSA's idea of running the volunteer program, which we are, I know, planning to commence online in July, and what is that volunteer program about?
Yeah, so yes, we talked about LEAD earlier as a leadership program, and it's quite intense. And then we've got another program with the volunteering, and so this program is short. It's a few weeks of interaction with GSA, and what it does, it's like an internship, but what it does is it provides structure for the volunteer to come and spend time with each of us in the organization. And so they would shadow us and do our work. And because GSA has different streams of work, the student is able to understand the different types of professional work that are happening in the background. So we hope to run that out next week, and it's really exciting actually. But before COVID arrived, it was going to definitely be a in-person situation, and now it's been redesigned to be online. And now with the technology, there's almost more interaction, or more often interaction that happens now. So for us, it gives that opportunity to the student who hasn't generally had experience working in an office environment, or working, sitting in meetings that are discussing important aspects of an organization, or looking at different ways to provide innovative services, and they can have some input into that for our students. So yeah, it's a really exciting program that's coming up. And yeah, so for those listening on the call, please look out through our social channels and our website. We're using Facebook a lot now. We'll be announcing the start date for that volunteering program coming up.
Fantastic. And it's a good time to also mention that in 2020, GSA introduced the graduate program to have 4 to 5 graduates who are actually employed for a period of a year on a part-time basis to work in our different areas. And yes, unfortunately, they're working in a virtual environment, but doing such a good job. So I must say, Jonathan, Ali, Jessica, Vivian have been, providing such excellent support to our staff. And and being, absolute delight to have them working alongside in this virtual environment and contributing very positively to the organization and bringing a strong student perspective. So we hope to use these kind of programs to support with transition to work. I am aware of the time and just wanted to briefly have a chat with you about your future thoughts on academic excellence. I know we have had a great delivery of good programs from Felicity Ford, who has just finished up in her position as the short course coordinator, and currently GSA is exploring how we develop our academic excellence program with Stop One, and be able to continue with some of the programs that we've hosted, but also look at the gaps that are there and look at innovation. What are some of your thoughts on that, Tavita?
Yeah, thanks, Roshan. I think, as you said, we've been quite lucky in the fact that our programs for academic supports for our boot camp, Shut Up and Writes, Start Your Week Writes, have been very popular. And now with this environment, we've again had to be extremely innovative to try and provide the community feel for when we deliver these kind of programs. So absolutely linking in with Guido and his team to provide the academic support, but as I said earlier, to tailor it to the needs of graduates would be our focus. So we've definitely seen more. It's come to highlight more that we will be concentrating our academic support on the international student cohort, especially internationals that have language barriers. And I think that's a huge focus for us for GSA, because the university does amazing work at the moment, and we'll definitely partner with them. But there are certain cohorts within the graduate student cohort that need that extra support, or a more focused, designed area for the academic support. So yeah, so for us, concentrating on international students, especially with those with language barriers.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Tavita. And I do want to emphasize, as Alistair reminded us, there is a questionnaire that the university will be putting out, and I encourage all the students to fill them out, provide constructive feedback, identify the needs, because I think that kind of data and participation allows all organizations to reflect, be able to look at the gaps, see what's working well, and also be able to design innovative programs for where there are gaps. So before we finish, I'd like to bring in back Jeremy to have any final comments as a council member. If you would like to add any would like to comment based on what our different speakers and panelist members have provided.
Yeah, sure. I think it's been really good to see that there is a diverse range of services out there. Obviously, as GSA, we are trying to promote what we are providing and continue to provide new, different avenues to support students at this time. But I think it's the main takeaway from this session is that the university is also here to support you, and students should be taking advantage of those services, and that GSA will be working on behalf of students to make sure that we are filling those gaps. And again, it is really important that if students are feeling like there is any kind of gap there or something they want the GSA to be doing for them, they can get in contact with us, because obviously we are here to help students. So any kind of feedback is very useful for us. And that'll just help us, improve the services that we offer.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And I also encourage students to actually contact your faculty. It's good to go to Stop One to help you navigate, but also, during this period, take the initiative to contact your faculty. Try to build a relation to help you solve the problem, and definitely take the support of Stop One and our services like us and AMSU, but I think the opportunity for us to address our problems are best handled with the people who are dealing with the issues. So taking a proactive step is always very important. So finally, I'd like to thank Jeremy from the GSA Council, who's our activities officer, who has been very, very supportive and working very closely with Tavita and me in ensuring these kind of programs are rolled out. And we've had to shift gears, but it's been good to have that support. So thank you, Jeremy. I'd like to thank Alistair and Guido for providing us the insight of all the services that are there currently delivered by Stop One at the University of Melbourne's Academic Success Program. And also to Tavita for, pursuing some of those difficult programs, which are often quite challenging to manage online, but as a small organization, but you've done a fantastic job. So thank you, Tavita. And I do want to acknowledge the presence of our attendees who have taken the time to listen to this program and shown. Please do share this information with your friends. And, we encourage people to jump onto our website, and these recordings are all hosted on the blog area. So that's the easiest way to find these recordings, and any comments and feedback is always welcome. Thank you so much.